Coming to you live from St. Louis, Missouri.
It's the FasterFreedom Show.
With your hosts, Sam Prim and Lucas Wall.
We're talking about freedom.
Today, my man.
Oh, we're just rocking and rolling. I feel like I need my picture on this banner at this point.
You do, man. You're like not an honorary host, but like one of the hosts, my man.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're like, we're on the bench. We're waiting for the full-time call-up.
Yeah, you'll get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got myself, Lucas Walls. We got the one and only Matthew Sieb here hosting with you guys. Sam is on the beach in Mexico, correct?
On the beach.
On the beach.
Getting that tan.
Family trip, though, right? Kids are going to this one?
Yes.
Yeah, the resort looks sick. There was like an octopus slide of some sort that just goes which way. So
it's a little different than the adult version of Mexico that Sam's probably used to. But
that's true. Hopefully he gets a little bit of that in there, too.
I think he's got some parents on the trip, so some built-in care, which is nice.
Built-in care. Hopefully they get out and enjoy themselves. I've been to Mexico twice.
Yeah.
Once for my mom's 60th.
Okay.
And then once for my honeymoon. So,
all right.
And that was 9 years ago now.
Okay.
So I need to go back.
I've been to Mexico twice.
Yeah.
And I've came home sick twice.
You came home.
I did come home. But I would do it again. I'd risk it.
I'm ready.
Third time's a charm, right? That's what they say.
I'm ready. I like going out of the country is a little unique for me. I've only done it that 2 times, so I've always looked into like what can the United States provide that like Cancun can provide from like an all-inclusive perspective, and it's like 5 times as expensive.
Yeah.
Like, the Keys has some, and it looks amazing, but it's like $10,000.
So you found them though. Like, I haven't even found them. So
yeah, check out a couple places in Key West.
You must be on sites that I don't belong on.
Yeah, well, you have that as well, just different sites. Anyway, so we're gonna get it kicked off today, talking about the lawsuit with the National Association of Realtors, NAR. So that came to a conclusion today. Or not today, but in this past week, I guess it was, last Friday. So in general, instead of like boring you with all the like legal jargon, I'm going to tell you like what it looks like from our perspective, right? So, all right, if you go to list a house now, right, you have a listing agent, and then you sign a commission agreement with the brokerage that listing agent represents, right? So, for example, let's say 6%. That's pretty common total commission. And that commission pays for both your listing agent and the buyer's agent as well right now. So that buyer's agent portion of what the seller used to be responsible for is going away.
Yeah.
So that's wild to me.
Yeah, and the laws around like even being able to, like, you have no ability to even communicate, like as a buyer, like you're setting that now, which is crazy to think. But
so like, for example, you could you sign the agreement for the total amount with the listing agent or the brokerage, whatever, and you get to designate what you're willing to pay for the buyer's commission back in the day. So of that 6%, you could put 1%. You could put 2%. You could put 3%. Whatever you wanted to do, what you wanted to do in the past is make it appetizing enough for buyer's agents to see that and be hungry enough to bring their clients to the house.
Yeah.
Right? So buyer's agents have had a really tough job over the past 3 years, looking at sometimes hundreds of properties for clients and not even getting an offer accepted.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
The listing agent has been in the catbird seat for a long, long time. So I don't know if this is going to help that at all. You know what I mean? Like, is it going to de-incentivize buyer's agents for going and hunting and finding deals for their clients?
Yeah, and even like looking at it further, like talk about like the average home buyer, right? Like you're in a threshold or a range of pricing. Like you talk about these upscale properties or higher valued homes that, like, what's the incentive to go deal with somebody that, like, your pool's so much smaller if you're dealing with $1 million properties.
Right.
And it's like, hey, if it's going to be a flat fee or an hourly rate or whatever that looks like it's going to get tough.
It is. And you can structure it however you want. Like, what will happen is there's going to be some sort of compensation structure. it can be within multiple parties. It can still be outside, can't be on the MLS, can't be on the listing service, but it can be outside of that, between certain parties, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the easy one is, the simplest one is the buyer that's hunting agrees with their agent, hey, if we find a deal, this is what I'm going to pay you. But the buyer's already the one coming up with, 5 to 20% worth of a down payment, closing costs, appraisal, inspection. There's already a large chunk out of the buyer's pocket. So I think there's some fear out there that this is going to be more of a lift for new buyers, first-time home buyers, and more cash they're going to have to outlay to get into a house for the first time.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I just think about just the ripple effect of like real estate agents in general, right? Like they're your voice, they're they know the process to walk through. So like, are there going to be people that are trying to skirt and save a little bit of cash here and be using the wrong people, like when you can have an advocate on your side that is here to help you? I also read something about home prices and the potential effect of that.
Yeah.
Like, are you going to have people either selling at the same price and trying to capitalize on more money in their pockets? Are you going to have home prices drop because the market's going to increase because people are like, hey, there's a better opportunity for me to save some money in the process. So will volume increase at that point? So
yeah, it could.
There's a lot of questions still out there.
For sure. Like, you, as a seller, you save some money on commissions, but are you bringing the appropriate amount of buyer pool in there to be able to capitalize and get the best price for your house?
Right.
Is that going to drop? I think is a big question.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of agents out there posting like, hey, they know how important buyers agents are to their listings. They need to bring as many people they can to figure out who the best buyer is. So a lot of people raising their hands and like, hey, I'm still paying buyers agents. So they just got to figure that out outside the MLS. And I think they're going to do it, but it's going to look a lot different than it does now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And so correct me like if I'm wrong here, but like, will that also impact, like, I feel like there's a ton of administrative stuff now of like finding the right agent to work with. Like, will that impact it? Will there be a ton of like vetting processes and like figuring out who to go with now?
Specifically on a buyer's agent side you talking about? Yeah, because the price is going to fluctuate so much, whereas in the past, if you're a buyer in a buyer's agent agreement, like that buyer pays nothing.
Right.
They can go find him a house and that compensation comes out of the seller. Now that's got to be agreed upon way ahead of time in writing on what they're going to get paid to find a certain house in a certain area.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's wild.
Is there gonna be contract terms, you think, with that?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Are they gonna be like, hey, you're under my, account for this amount of period?
And there is that now, but it's it mainly has to do with what type of house you're looking for and in what area. But it doesn't spell out compensation, and that's gonna get hairy for sure. Dicey. So very interesting. Overall, I don't love it, but I think it's part of the evolution of the traditional real estate business, which needs to evolve, I think, in a way. So I think it will hopefully be a step in that direction and continue to evolve and continue benefiting the sellers and buyers. And then compensate the real estate agents appropriately so they can go out and advocate for their people. Yeah.
How do you think it will affect agents? Like I've heard like potentially people walking out of the industry because of this.
Yeah. And I think like the headline for this is, should you still get your real estate license?
There you go.
Right. So I think they're still going to get compensated. A lot of people start as buyer's agents. Like if you're a new agent, like going to find something to go find a property for them, that's where you start. That's where all like the grunt work is. And then eventually you want to get into the catbird seat, and that's having the listings, right? You don't have to be as mobile. You don't have to be all over the metro area looking for houses. You're like, hey, this is my house. This is my listing. You come to me. I'll pay you. So in general, I think it's hard for new agents to get rolling on the buyer side of things. But I could definitely see this being an extra layer of confusion and less people coming in and getting their license. Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah, for sure, man. Cool. Well, that's a great little opening rant. Before we get into our main topics today, let's give a plug to Freedom Fest, my man.
For
so
sure.
Why don't you tell the listeners what we got going on and what Freedom Fest is?
Yeah. So FasterFreedom, obviously the education community that we've built over the last 4 years, super awesome. Primarily online education. So we do virtual, coaching and stuff like that. But for the longest time, and Lucas can be a testament to this, we've talked about this in-person event. We're like, we're going to do it this year. We're going to do it this year. And it hasn't happened. But we finally have the pieces in place to execute. Some of those pieces are the right people, the right coaches, the right setting. We have an awesome event space here in our office. But we're trying to change the dynamic of what an in-person event is.
Yeah.
Sam and I, specifically Sam, has been a part of like educating at certain in-person events, but the thing that bothers him most, and like kind of the inspiration behind this whole thing, is really taking the in-person event, and we don't want it to be educators or whoever's on stage talking, and then you might get a tidbit here or there, and somebody walks away without the next step. So our goal for Freedom Fest is to create a real immersive, like actionable, 2-day events where people can come in, we educate them, but we also do these breakout sessions and really teach them how to move the needle in real estate, whether they're brand new or have dipped their feet in the water of investing. We want to give them actionable steps to move forward and create that wealth through real estate. So that's the whole goal and vision behind it. And have some awesome people up on screen if you're viewing with us, but you're going to be a part of that, Lucas.
Yes, I can. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there, obviously, along with Sam. And we got Tessa, Property Management Division. We got Matt Lauman, who runs our flipping company. Kaola, who's one of our coaches, our main coach here at FasterFreedom. Dusty, who's a coach as well, but also our director of construction. And then we got Dusty's wife, Shelly, who's an excellent traditional real estate agent, also in the investment space as well. So just to
one of
dig in.
Really cool things, if you don't mind. Like one of the really cool things I think is like FasterFreedom in general. Like our secret sauce, in my opinion, is the fact that we're actively investing in real estate. So everybody that you see up on that screen, and Sam and Lucas and everybody involved, like actively investing in real estate. So like you have a lot of people doing these events that were successful 5 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever, but they found a different path through educating. But I love that we're continuing to actively invest in educating off of that, because real estate is so fluid as far as strategies and different ways you can go in real estate. So being able to provide strategies based off of current events
I love that.
is super important.
Yeah, we were professional real estate investors, not professional coaches.
That happen to coach,
we
yes.
we do have coaches, but like Kaola, our main coach, has 30-plus rental doors, has done some flips, has 10 MTRs, so actively doing it. And I think you made a good point, is we're not like teasing other parts that we're going to provide later. Like this is everything. We're going to dump all we have into this, and if this is the only thing you ever do with us, you'll have the knowledge to go take and confidence to go take that next step.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's May 9th and 10th right here in our office. It's open to obviously our community, but also anybody nationwide can come into that. We got a hotel right next to us here that you can stay by, and a lot of amenities around here. We're going to go do some fun stuff. So if we could drop that link in the chat, that'd be super cool, or put it up on the screen, either way. Really looking forward to that. A lot of fun. Man, it's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm excited. May 9th and 10th, and then there's a couple different ticket options. So there's a general admission VIP thing that we hosting a little small gathering on the 8th. So definitely, if you're interested in real estate, this would be an awesome first step, or add on to what you got going already in your business.
There we go. FasterFreedomFest.com. Check it out. Super cheap in my eyes too. Like, I've been a part of these events where it's thousands and thousands of dollars. This is hundreds, I believe.
Yeah,
so
$397 is getting in the door.
The value that $397 is going to bring to these people's lives, I can't wait, man.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so getting into the meat and potatoes, we're going to talk about the outline of what we're going to get into today. So we're going to have a 30-minute segment on our REI school, and the topic for today is going to be top 5 myths about real estate investing. Then we're going to get into some current headlines. Got some wild ones today, from cyber attacks on water systems throughout the U.S. to Elon Musk ketamine usage to Gucci stock prices slumping. So super cool on the headlines. Then we're getting to some riddle me this. I read through the questions, Matt, and I'm in trouble today.
I'm ready.
I am in trouble.
I'm ready.
And then hopefully I can try to stump Sieb on some true and false. And then we got at the end, well, not even at the end, but one of our last segments is going to be a deal of the week, and it's going to kind of bring it back to the basics. Super simple, latest rental acquisition for Sam and I and our company. So going to go through that and kind of some challenges that we've had on even the basic of deals. So,
Yeah, love it. Transparency, baby.
Yep, and then we'll end on some motivation for you guys. So if you're listening, watching, whatever you're doing, please comment. Let us know where you're at. Morgan, good to see you. Ricardo, what's up? Rick in the house. Love it. Comment any questions we'll get to. We got them right in front of us. Let us know where you're watching from, listening from, and let us know if you got any questions. So we're going to get into it. All right, first segment here on the show, guys. Real estate investing school. So top 5 myths about real estate investing. So this is not a chat GPT output. These are ones that I thought of, had a little bit of research and kind of reworded ones, but some myths that I had in my mind first getting started, and also probably very applicable to other people looking to get started as well.
Yeah, for sure. You want me to hit you off with number 1?
Yeah, let's
Awesome.
hit it off with number 1.
Awesome. Number 1. So you need your own money to invest in real estate.
Yeah, I think this could be even generalized bigger than that. Like, you need money to make money.
Yeah.
Right? And in a lot of the cases, that is the truth. And if you have money, real estate is not a bad place to put it.
Right.
We're not saying that. It's still an excellent investment if you do it the right way and do it the way that we coach and teach. So we're not saying you shouldn't put your money into real estate if you have it. We are saying, we're busting the myth that you have to have a whole bunch of money to begin investing in real estate.
Right. Love it.
Cool. So one of the ways that you can invest in real estate without using your own money is wholesaling properties. A lot of people think wholesaling is not truly investing, which I kind of agree with that. It's a marketing and sales play, right, where you're finding discounted properties and selling those discounted properties to someone who's going to rehab it, either rehab it to sell retail or rehab it to make a rental. So with wholesaling, you do not need a dollar, technically. You can drum up discounted properties by networking and building relationships with industry professionals or any professionals that might come across a discounted property. So there's ways that you can spend money to find these properties as well, a limited amount like direct mail or but with social media these days, you can be all over social media for free and letting people know you're looking for discounted properties and get deals.
Yeah, I've had a couple instances recently, actually, with individuals interested in joining the community, financial struggles and whatever has them have some reservations. So it's interesting because they're like, hey, I can't do the BRRRR strategy. I can't do the BRRRR strategy because of X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, well, really, the BRRRR strategy, like at the top level, people think it's building a rental portfolio, right? And that's how wealth happens. But in my eyes, it's finding distressed properties, or discounted. Let's call them discounted properties because they might not be distressed. But finding discounted properties, that is the first step of the BRRRR. So you are literally doing the BRRRR strategy, but you're just not continuing on. You're exiting at that point. And there's multiple ways to exit. I mean, you look at the BRRRR strategy, so finding distressed properties, you can fix and flip it. Again, you're exiting before you keep it as a rental. You can wholesale it, exiting before keeping it as a rental. So there's a lot of strategies that you can do with a distressed property or discounted property. So I love just the idea of wholesaling because it also, like, as somebody new to real estate, it's like, get really, really good at finding distressed properties or discounted properties. And
it all starts there. That's the foundation. Yeah.
So,
and if you do that well, then it opens up the realm to do whatever you want.
Yeah, builds relationships. You're talking with other wholesalers, you're talking with other investors. Like, real estate's 100% a relationship game. Like, if you're not willing to put in the effort and the work to build relationships, like tomorrow night, we're going to have, 200 to 250 investors, contractors, lending partners, everybody real estate adjacent is going to be in this office. And like, you'll hear 3 or 4 wholesale deals shop tomorrow.
Yeah.
And those are people doing it.
Yeah, and our deal of the week, we bought at an event just like that.
Really?
That's where we bought
I
it.
love
at
it.
Our Buyers Club. And what Matt's talking about is we host a monthly meetup group here in our office as well. A lot more surface level than like Freedom Fest is going to be.
Yeah.
And it's free for your first time. And I think it's like $25 after that or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, come on out tomorrow night. We'll be here in our office and have a great presenter. And it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of networking and deals going around.
Yeah, and quick plug for like anybody that's not in the St. Louis market. 1, you can come to St. Louis. We would love to have you here. But 2, go to sites like meetup.com, like get involved in your local real estate meetups. Like that's where the magic happens. Like I feel like I'm on MTV Cribs when I say that.
Yeah. We have a 15-year-old that just made a comment, so that's super cool. I'm sorry if I butcher your name a little bit, but Sharayas? Is that how you'd say that, you think, Sieb?
I would think so.
All right, Sharaya's 15, looking to get involved in real estate, so that's amazing, first of all, to even have that mindset. But I would just focus on learning, getting through school, and then turning 18, and then you can start getting a little credibility and some financial backing.
Yeah, you got 3 years of the Faster Freedom Show. And then we'll get rocking.
Yeah, just dive in and focus on learning a whole bunch right now. Okay, so yeah, with wholesaling, don't need your own money because you buy a house, discounted property, and you set it for like a 3, 4, 5 week closing, and then you find a buyer during that time frame, someone that's looking to fix that up, physically do the work, and then you execute a simultaneous close or a double close, so you don't have to fund it at all. And you just get the difference between what you have it under contract with the seller for and then what you have it under contract with your buyer for. So it's a double close. You make that spread. You don't have to fund it, so you don't need any of your own money.
Yeah. Yeah, and talk about, like, I know everybody does it a little differently, but, like, talk about protections. Like, obviously, financing is an issue to some degree if, like, you're solely focused on wholesaling. But, like, what protections are in place for people that are saying, hey, I want to start wholesaling is where I'm going to start at?
For sure, yeah. So you want to have some contingencies for sure in your contract with the person you're buying the house from. Those contingencies could range from a variety of things. Ultimately, you need to sell the house, and however transparent about that you can be, the better, honestly. So you could say something along the lines of, hey, I partner with other local investors. They'll be your end buyer. I'm going to go find that person for you is a great way. You can maybe something's physically wrong with the house, so you can put like a 2-week like a foundation inspection or something like that, and truly bring a foundation inspector in and look at that, but then also maybe bring in some buyers as well to take a look. But ultimately, you need some sort of period, inspection, contingency, some sort of period. It could be anything you want, but usually along the lines of 2 weeks, I say would give you enough time to figure out if you have interest from other buyers. And then you might want to have something in there that says, hey, if my end buyer doesn't perform, then I'm not liable to close on this as well.
Yeah. Communication's key, though,
communication,
right?
yeah, and transparency. They're like, don't be telling them, hey, I'm gonna take this down. I'm gonna rehab this. You're good. Like, just be open, as honest as possible, and it's hard to lose when you're transparent.
Well
cool.
said.
So if you want to take something down, do you still have to use your own money?
You don't.
No.
You don't.
All right. So whether you're going to fix and flip or fix and rent, which is the BRRRR strategy, you'll need some sort of funding up front, right? You got a $100,000 house, a couple different ways to buy it, like cash, $100,000. I need $100,000, people think, right?
Right.
Or 20% down, I need 20 grand. No, that's not necessarily the case. When you're buying these discounted properties, there's lenders out there, either private individuals or hard money lenders, that will fund 100% of the purchase price if you're buying it at a good deal.
Yep.
So that you go to the closing table, you get money from an outside party that likes to lend on these type of things, and they'll fund 100% of the closing purchase price, and you don't have to come to the table with $1.
Yeah. Love it.
Love it, right?
Yeah. Power of OPM, obviously, 1, leveraging other people's money, but 2, protecting your personal cash, right? Your cash reserves. If you had that money in the bank account, like, it's not like you're coming out of pockets. I've had a lot of people also ask, like, private lenders, like, more relationship based. So hard money lenders are your traditional, like, they're in business to lend to real estate investors, but from a private lender, like, you're talking about an aunt, an uncle, a friend from church, like somebody in your either close network or extended network.
Yeah.
And the the interesting thing is, like, why would they ever want to lend to me? And, like, the reality is you're creating a win-win situation for everybody. Like, you get the property, they collect 10 to 12% annualized returns on the money that they lent out, and it's all backed by the property, right?
Yep.
So it's backed by real estate.
Yeah.
So super secure in my opinion. But a lot of times, like, those people want to have a body of work. So maybe going through a hard money lender the first time, and then you're like, hey, this is how I executed it.
Yep.
This was the result. Would you be interested in moving forward? So they're out there.
For sure. A lot of people love to lend on this type of investment, just as Marty alluded there. So we got Sam Prim in the chat box. Lucas still can't go deep into a topic I'm sure he's talking about without me there. So we need a deep tally. You did one of those. Sam usually says go deep about 3 to 4 times an episode.
I was going to keep it out of this one.
Yeah. And Sam said on a plane now over the Gulf. He says you look fresh with your new haircut. And I agree.
Thank
you
you.
do look fresh today.
Thank you.
We talked about maybe upping that fade game up a
We're
little
going to
bit.
go. We're
Yeah.
going to do it next time.
All right, cool. All right, so and then the last part of it is if you want to keep that as a rental, you know, how do you not use any of your own money if you want to keep it as a rental? So you have to, we use short-term financing, either private lender or hard money lender for the purchase and rehab. And then at that point, we got to pay those people off after you have a rehab product somehow, because those are short-term loans, usually 6 to 12 months. So either go to a national DSCR lender or a local bank, and they'll give you a loan for 80% of what it appraised for. And if you bought it right, you can take that 80% check. They'll give you an 80% of the value check.
Yep.
And then you take that money, pay off your other people, and then you're into it for no money. And then you can start making monthly mortgage payments on that long-term debt as your tenant makes their rent payment.
I was going to say, you're not personally making those mortgage payments, right? The goal is you rent the property out, cash flow a little bit, you pay back the mortgage, they're paying down the mortgage, and you're collecting on the back end. But and that all comes back to, like, buying the right property, buying a property that you can inject value into. So super important. Like, it works. You just got to find the right pieces and put them in place.
It works. And our deal of the week is going to talk about a very simple but very relevant example of a BRRRR strategy deal. So hang on tight for
Ready.
that. All right. So myth number 1, busted that myth. You do not need your own money. All right. So myth number 2, real estate is a passive investment. I hear this a lot. People want that passive income, and that's fine, and it's out there. In order to get truly passive income, whatever type of investment in, whether it's in real estate or the stock market or other type of investments out there, you do need some money, period, if you want it to be truly passive. In real estate, that could look like investing into a REIT, so a real estate fund on the that's publicly traded on the stock market. They usually pay very high dividends, those type of funds, 5 to 8% a lot of times. So you can put some money in a fund and get those dividends, and that is truly pretty passive. But you need your own money to do it. Or there's other, like, private real estate investments, like syndications, like Grant Cardone's company, right? Like, if you want to invest into Cardone Capital, and he takes your money and goes buys an asset, and then he pays you based on the amount that you invested. So those are ways to keep it passive, but
so looking at, like, Cardone, though, right? Like, he's leveraging, again, other people's money to invest in real estate, and historically real estate doubles in value every 15 years. So, like, you reap, like, the return on the short end, right, with the 5 to 8% or whatever the terms are for that specific fund. But, like, ultimately, like, the big winner here are the owners of the fund or whoever's involved that's doubling that value. So I don't know, it's however you want to cut it. There is work if you want to own it yourself, but is the work worth the outcome? Probably. Right.
I think that balance is control versus the work, right? If the more passive you are, the less control you have over your asset. the more control that you want, you're going to have to put in some work. So what is that? I mean, it's work. Like, it's not rocket scientists, but it is hard work. But the cool part about it, if you have a passion for real estate, all this stuff's super fun. Like, going out and finding deals, I freaking love it. I don't have enough time for it anymore, but that's why we have
that time.
That's why we have an amazing team that goes out there and does it. But I miss that to this day. You know, managing a project, you know, that takes some work as well. But getting out there and getting your hands dirty, dealing with the contractors is a lot of fun for me too.
Yeah.
And then lining up the funds, like we just talked about, building relationships with those private lenders, those hard money lenders, because maybe you don't have a big chunk of cash to put down. You're using other people's money, so you got to make sure those relationships are nurtured.
Yeah. And I think, like, looking at it, obviously, like a brand new investor, obviously their viewpoint of it, like, it's going to be a lot harder, in my opinion, on the front end. But like, over time, once you get to deal 2 and deal 5 and deal 10, like, you're building these processes. Like, it's all about, like, efficiencies, right?
Yes.
Like, so if you can build efficiencies in the process, like, that learning curve cuts off pretty quick, as long as you're putting in the effort on the front end. Like, you're building the relationships that are going to help you continue to grow, continue to scale, and, like, it's going to become secondhand knowledge where you're a subject matter expert at that point. So
yeah, I love it. Yeah, and then when people hear passive too, they think of rental properties for the most part. I think like that mailbox money. You know, you gotta acquire the assets, you gotta light up the funding, but then you gotta manage the properties. So there is some work in managing properties, but some people love it. They want to hold on to that management and manage it all themselves, and there's some work into that. But you can also make it a little more passive by outsourcing that property management and having a team manage it for you. Make it a little more passive, but still not completely hands off.
Yeah, and we've talked about it time and time again with our community, like, starting off managing it yourself, because you do a couple things. One, save money. You, like, increase cash flow through that. You're not paying out a property management company to manage the one property you have, but it's also, like, you're learning the steps and, like, what comes up through property management. So, like, you're well educated at that point. So if you want to outsource it, maybe, like, do the first couple on your own, or try it out and figure it out. And then, like, as you scale and realize that your time needs to be spent in other, you know, spaces of your business, outsource it at that point.
I love it. So real estate is a passive investment for the most part. That is not true, unfortunately.
It's all right.
That's all right, especially if you love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, myth number 3. Real estate investing is a get-rich-quick scheme. What do you think about that?
I think that's wrong.
You think we're going to bust that?
Wrong. I think it is not a get-rich-quick scheme, but I think it's a get-wealthy for sure scheme.
I agree.
And I don't even like using the word scheme at the end of that, because it's not a scheme. Scheme
Plan.
sounds dirty. Yeah, I like that. Path, journey.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with that. If you do not stop and do not give up in building a rental portfolio, you will get wealthy for sure.
Yep.
There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I think that for sure is more important than how quick it actually is. I do want to say a caveat to that, because I do think in order to get the amount of wealth that real estate can create, I do think it is the fastest way, quote unquote. But to be like a true like millionaire, you know, as opposed to putting, you know, 4 or 5% in a 401k every single month, it might take you, I don't know, 20, 30 years to become a millionaire. 40?
Yeah.
Maybe you'll never be there.
Yeah. Here's my take on that is, like, you control your own destiny.
Yeah.
Like, you go as fast as you want, you go as slow as you want, but, like, ultimately, if you're the owner of your business, so, like, you look at a fund, it's like you're not in control of that. Like, you don't know what they're going to do. You're not in control of the stock market. You don't know what those decision makers are doing, or how that business will perform, but, like, you control your real estate journey. So, like, you can make it what you want.
For sure. You can hustle as hard as you want, especially if you love it and it's not like a stress for you. Hustle as hard as you want. You can get this done in 5 years or less. You can be a millionaire in 5 years or less. And we went through a path on exactly what you should do every single year last episode. And I think it's like something along the lines of 15 properties in 5 years. And with equity and debt pay down and appreciation, you're going to be a millionaire.
Yeah. And it doesn't stop with, like, or it doesn't end with, like, it has to be a rental property that's cash flowing whatever $200 $300 bucks a month. Like, you can do those now cash
Yes.
strategies too. Like you can fix and flip properties, you can wholesale properties. Like there's multiple revenue streams within real estate that you can deploy. You can get that, that income replacement money or the long-term wealth through rentals. So
For sure.
it's super versatile.
Yep. So let's just do some quick math here. So to be a millionaire at 75% loan to value, give or take, you probably have to have about $4 million worth of properties, $4 million rental portfolio. And that means you have a loan balance of about $3 million, give or take. That means you got $1 million worth of equity.
Yep.
Super cool, right? So whatever that $4 million looks like per house in your market, just divide it by the median house price in your market. And that's how many houses you got to go get to become a millionaire.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. So being a millionaire, that is your net worth we're talking about. We're talking assets minus liabilities. What that doesn't mean is you have a whole bunch of extra cash in your pocket. I think you alluded to that a little bit. So when building a rental portfolio, you're not going to be flush with cash, period. You want each of these deals to generate, a couple $100 a month net cash flow. And a lot of times as you're growing, even that gets dumped back into the property one way, shape, or another, right?
It's a turn, it's a insurance claim, it's whatever.
Exactly. So even though you're a millionaire on paper, you're still at some risk for sure of being a little cash poor. So figure out a way to supercharge your cash reserves. Over time, the rental portfolio will take care of that, but it's going to take time. But supercharge it now with fix and flips or wholesales or keep your W-2 day job, whatever it takes. That's an important part of growing a business.
Yeah, that rental portfolio, that's your future. And then fix and flip, wholesale, any other strategy like that is that now money, like that will provide you with the cash needed. So
beautiful. All right, myth number 4. First of all, myth 3. Busted. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme, though it is, halfway busted. It is the quickest I know of, and it's not a scheme.
Yeah.
So
well said.
Yeah. All right, myth number 4. Investing in real estate is extremely risky. How does that hit to you at all?
I would take the word out, extremely.
So you think it's risky?
I think there's risk involved.
Okay,
which
like every investment, right?
Every investment has risk involved. Things I love about it is there are proven processes that have been done time and time again, so you get the right guidance, the right coaching, whatever that looks like for you, you can succeed. So anybody can succeed. We've had teachers in our community. We've had lawyers in our community. Like, it's all walks of life that can be successful in real estate. You don't need a degree. You don't need special schooling, diploma, whatever. So anybody can be successful. Risk involved, yes. And then, it's backed by real estate. So like
controllable.
Yeah, it's controllable. And then the ownership of the business, right? Like you are making the decisions for your business. So
for better, for worse.
Yeah. and like that's where the due diligence and like learning from others and like raising your hand, like the people that get in trouble more times than not are the ones that do it alone.
Yep.
So find that real estate community, whoever that is to you, get support, and like that's where the magic happens. Yeah,
I think you said it right there. Is there's a proven process on how to do this. Though it evolves over time, it's way different than when I first started.
Yeah.
But anything that you invest in, I just am a strong believer of understanding it and becoming an expert in that industry or whatever you want to call it. I kind of learned that from Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
There's things that could be good investments out there that he knows that, but he doesn't understand them enough to deploy a certain amount of effort or capital into it. So therefore, he doesn't make the investment, even though it could be. He'll pass on it. And that he talks about that with Apple. Like, it took him until 2016, I think, to understand the business of Apple. Yeah. And then once he understood it, he went frickin' all in. And now he owns like 6% of Apple or something like that. So super crazy. And I believe that in real estate as well. I would rather be an expert at one thing, one industry, whatever it is, than diversify to all these different investing platforms that I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
So be an expert that on something that you can control, I think is super important, and it will help limit that risk.
Yeah, and I don't think you need to learn it overnight, but it's
Yeah.
like if you can dedicate consistent effort
Yes.
and time and attention to learning it and connecting with the right people, like you will be successful.
Yeah, and we talk about this all the time. You can only learn so much from, consuming podcasts and reading books and going to meetups. Like, the majority of your learning is going to be from doing it.
Yeah.
So that is that first risk that you have to be willing to take to get the learning lessons that you need, and hopefully get an asset that you own for a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
Very cool. And then also just some ways to kind of hedge your risk. Make sure you have those cash reserves that I talked about. I didn't when we started.
The right accounting systems.
The right accounting systems, yep. But it doesn't have to be anything crazy. I think, $5,000 would help you grow a 10-house portfolio pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Just $5,000, set it aside. This is my catastrophe funds if, a roof goes out or something goes out that I can't pay for cash flow.
Yeah.
So I think that helps. And then buying at those discounts and understanding buying at a discount, and don't over leverage yourself.
Right.
And have that appropriate loan to value percentage. Hopefully on day one is the highest your loan to value will ever be. So whether your comfortability is at 70%, 75%, 80%, whatever that is, stick to that formula. Don't over leverage, and buy right.
Yeah. Be patient.
Yep. And then if you're fix and flipping, I feel like there's some risk involved in that, obviously, like every investment that we talked
Right.
about. Where I've seen us get in trouble as a company of fix and flipping is we, rehab a property. Maybe the rehab didn't go well. We list it. We overspent on the rehab, so maybe we list it a little high. And then we don't get any action, and then we lower it, and then we lower it. And then we get this low offer, and then we're like, no, we can get more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And then 5 months down the road, we still own this thing, and we drop the list price to what this offer we could have took 5 months ago was.
Right.
So understanding when to cut your losses and move forward and not hold these short-term properties for long periods of time is an extremely valuable skill to learn.
Yeah, so you held on to it too long, so that was like
Very
the
risky.
constraint there. But talk about like being able to pivot. So like you've gotten into deals, or the company has gotten into deals that are like, hey, we're going to keep this as a rental property.
Yeah.
And then you have to pivot to like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense anymore, but like you can still make money selling it, right, on the market
For
to
sure.
To an end buyer.
It goes the other way more.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that in our deal of the week. Like, hey, we lined out the parameters of this rental property. We need to spend this. We need to be at this. We need to cash flow this. And if you spend a little more in the rehab, maybe it's not a perfect BRRRR anymore. And instead of putting $10,000 in or really maximizing your loan to value, you just sell that and make that 15% spread,
Right.
and make 10 or 15 grand. That's a win versus having to dump a whole bunch of money into an asset that maybe doesn't even cash flow.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely being able to pivot and have flexibility. All right, that is myth number 4. So we're in the middle of debunking. Is that a word? Debunking 5 myths of real estate. We're getting ready to get into our 5th one. Please, if you have any questions about these myths or anything real estate related, throw it in the chat. We will definitely get to them in a second here. So, myth number 5: you have to time the market right. The real estate market we're talking about here. What do you think about that myth?
I think it's bunk.
Bogus.
Yeah, it's the old adage, right? It's like the best time to invest in real estate was 20 years ago. Second best time to invest in real estate is today. Like, I think that holds true at any point. Obviously, there are ups and downs in the markets. Everybody sees it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody hears about it on the news. There's a lot of fear that comes from those comments or news reports. But the reality is, like, if you do your due diligence, you approach it correctly, you have the right strategies, you're willing and able to be flexible. Like, I don't think 100% of the time, like, you can be like, this is going to be a rental property, or I'm going to do a long-term rental, where it's like maybe you pivot and it's a midterm rental and you're doing a different strategy to succeed. But so many ways to take real estate. But yeah, ultimately, like, my sentiment to this is, if you do it the right way and you analyze things properly, like you should still be successful in any market cycle that you're in.
For sure. So I'm gonna break this up into like long-term holds and then fix and flips. So talking about timing the market. So for long-term holds, I agree. Like, I'm not a huge believer in trying to time anything long-term. Number one, the real estate market moves pretty slow compared to like the stock market, right?
Or Bitcoin.
Or Bitcoin, oh God, yeah. So Bitcoin can fluctuate 5-10% in a day. For that to happen in the real estate market, it's going to take like years.
Yeah.
If it does, right? So it moves a lot slower. And in the long term, the values have a better chance of going up than going down. So long-term holds, I like the saying, I think this might be a Buffett saying too, but time in the market is much more important than timing in the market.
Yep.
I love that saying. So get in and hold on, and then you'll reap the benefits down the road. All right, so flips. So when to like buy a property, rehab it, and list it. So the market, the sale market out there is definitely seasonal for sure. Like more transactions get done from spring to fall than they do in the winter, period.
Right.
But people still move and have to move for a variety of different reasons all throughout the year, even in the winter. A lot of times there's not as much inventory in the market in the winter, so if you put a good product out there and someone has to move, you get a better sale price a lot of times.
For sure.
So I would maybe keep that in mind for like bigger projects. If you can list in the spring or summer, probably better, but I wouldn't I wouldn't make that be the reason you don't buy a deal, because it's going to list in the winter.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. All right, so those are our 5 myths. You have to time the market right. Debunked. That was fun, man. Thanks for going through that with me.
For bantering back and forth.
For sure. So, all right, the rest of our show here, we got current headlines now. Then we'll get into Riddle Me This, True or False, and then we'll get to our deal of the week at the end before we hit you with some motivation to finish out this week. So, current headlines. We got a lot of stuff going on out here, man. We got some wild ones. Headline number 1. We're going to go 3 headlines here. Headline number 1: cyber attacks are hitting water systems throughout the U.S. Biden officials warned governors on this. So what do you think about cyber attacks hitting our water systems?
I'm going to say scary.
Yeah.
It's very scary.
Yeah.
We were talking before we jumped on live here. It reminded you of Batman Begins.
That was more of like a guerrilla attack than a cyber attack, but still something like that.
But quite scary. The reports that came out, so U.S. water sector, which spans 150,000 public water systems, often struggles with finding cash and personnel to deal with hacking threats, which seems even more concerning to me. It's like I feel like we put resources into government funds and resources into a variety of different places. I feel like this should be like top of the list.
Yeah. And like the water system is just so weird. Like in our area, I don't know how many different water providers there are, but there's a handful.
Yeah.
And some of them are government provided by the municipality. Some of them are a private company. It's like, it's a mess.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I've set up service hundreds of times back
with
in the
5
day.
different providers.
With 5 different providers, and every time it is so archaic.
Yeah.
And so I can't imagine them not being very vulnerable to some sort of attack. I'm just trying to picture, what does a cyber attack on a water facility look like? Like they can just like shut off supply somehow, number one.
Yeah.
They could like probably adjust like chlorine levels so we're either over chlorinated or under chlorinated with freaking E. coli in the system.
Why are you trying to scare me even more now?
Dude,
I feel like that would be the worst one.
Yeah.
If the water still worked.
Dude, imagine the water still works and there's just E. coli everywhere throughout our whole metro area.
Please don't.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I see why the EPA probably needs to get involved, and it looks like they're setting up a task force to identify the most significant vulnerabilities, and then hopefully once they do that, they figure out a plan and maybe provide some sort of federal funding for some of these small municipalities that need it. I feel like.
I don't know. I'm sure it's way more complex than I'm thinking, but like I feel like private sectors of like water, I feel like this should just be something the government handles. Like,
for sure.
You hear about like Texas has their own like power grid.
Yeah.
And like when they had issues with that, like it was chaos.
Very similar.
Very crazy.
Very crazy. So so dig a well water, bottled water.
Yeah. You go down to Springfield, my wife, they have well water on the farm.
I grew up on well water, man.
There you go.
It's the best.
Is
so
it?
good. Yeah.
Have you ever like had bad tap water and you're like,
oh
doesn't
yeah,
taste like home.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like all tap water tastes funny besides the well.
Yeah.
To me, because it's overly chlorinated. It's got those weird old pipes that you can taste and
yeah.
Whatever
they do, maybe they do some good and they help like my friends in Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, that could,
yeah.
Gosh, that was a mess for sure.
bad.
Still a mess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Headline number 2. Elon Musk's. He's just one. He's not two people.
It's like an X at the end.
Elon Musk defends routine ketamine usage. Says it's good for business. Let me read this quote real quick that he said. It's so good. So this is a quote from Elon. Tesla is worth about as much as the rest of the car industry combined. So that's pretty good. From an investor standpoint, if there is something I'm taking, I should keep taking it.
It's like that mic drop moment right there.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, ketamine. So ketamine's wild. I'm an arm wrestling fan.
You are.
Yeah, so I like arm wrestling. My favorite arm wrestler does, I wouldn't call it routine ketamine drips or trips, whatever you want to call it, but he does them several times a year for sure. I think Musk does it like every other week.
Yeah.
A little bit. But he talks about for young kids, like still developing, not a good thing, but like he talks about like old grizzly vets that have some, psychological damage. Like he has PTSD from the war. So it helps you kind of look at life differently and quote unquote cure depression and anxiety a lot of times. So I've heard a lot of benefits about ketamine, but I think you have to really lean on your doctors for doing something like this.
Made some show notes. I put safe and controlled environments.
Yes.
Obviously, like looking at like the fentanyl outrage and all that stuff going on with all that crazy stuff. Like, obviously, be safe if that's the path that you're taking. But yeah, it's super interesting. I can see it from the shareholder side where might be slightly concerning that like that's happening.
But that's what you're invested in. That's freaking Elon.
Yeah.
And he's smoking weed on the Rogan podcast.
Yeah.
He does what he does. Like
right.
That's why it's what attracted to him in the first place.
Yeah, that's probably what pushes the needle to a degree, right? Like, I don't know if that's what helps him be as innovative as possible. Like, maybe it's worth it. But you got Aaron Rodgers out there, different, obviously, sports, but taking ayahuasca trips because it helps him, clear his mind and get focused for the season. But I don't know, he's throwing 70-yard touchdowns. So
yeah, Morgan in the chat, she is a nurse, so let's listen to her, and she has a cautionary tale of ketamine. Say it is still a sedative, so use cautiously.
Yes,
so,
we are not promoting any of this. By the way,
no, please God, don't do this.
Yes, we are not.
I've never
this.
taken it.
This is just the headlines.
Yeah, a couple other funny quotes from Elon. Said he takes ketamine, quote, once in a while when he is in a negative chemical state of mind, stating he typically consumes a small dose every other week. It's not a common thing, is what he says. He also goes on to say, I'm putting in 16-hour days. That's normal for me. And it's rare for me to take off even a weekend day. So I don't really have a situation where I cannot be mentally acute for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
So he definitely thinks it benefits his state of mind, therefore his companies, therefore his stakeholders.
Yeah. Long-term effects.
Who knows?
Concerning,
Up
right?
in the air.
Yeah. 16-hour days and obviously using, a substance like that. So, it's good for Elon if that's what drives him to feel successful. But, yeah, I'd be curious to know, like, what defines your negative chemical mindset? Like, what's the gauge for that?
Yeah, or like, is some of that because of the withdrawal ketamine?
You're right.
Now I have to use it. Oh, anyway, Elon out there promoting ketamine usage, so all good. I kind of want to try it now. I'm not gonna lie, but
Don't do it.
I'm not. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. All right, our last headline of the day: luxury stocks slump as Gucci sales slide. So I read this the first time. I thought it was talking about Gucci slides.
You would have bought them.
I don't have a pair of Gucci slides. I just think of Future in that one song.
Yeah.
And those Gucci flip flops.
Big rap guy.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, anything you got to say? Why do you think luxury brands such as Gucci are having these dip in revenue, therefore a hit on their stock price?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably a couple things that could be in play here. Obviously, consumers, right? So obviously, dip in stock prices is a result of consumers not buying the product. So are they not meeting the consumers where they are at?
Mm-hmm.
Is their pool of buyers dwindling? The other thing I thought about was like competition in the market. So especially with like social media, you have a ton of influencers or new companies that are using influencers as a beacon for new trends or fads. So you think of Gucci, you think of Louis Vuitton, all these big names that have been staples for so long. It's like they're now competing with a wide variety of people in a social media world. So like you see, the TikTok generation that's continuing to scroll. So a lot of influence out there, I think, could be impacting, but it's also maybe they're not meeting the consumer where they're at anymore.
Yeah, quick story time.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So I was at a mall the other day, right? A mall. Like, when's the last time you've been inside of a mall?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it was freaking weird. But what they do still have in the mall is like those little kiosks.
Yep.
Of like, high-end like sunglasses or purses. And I had my cousin with me, and she walks up to this. She loves sunglasses, so she walked up to this gentleman. And she's like, are these real?
Yeah.
And they got like the LV on the side or whatever. And I had to explain. I was like, well, they're real sunglasses, but probably not the brand that you think they are.
Yeah.
So that was kind of hard.
Well, the movie House of Gucci, like they dealt with like counterfeits, and they were like impressive counterfeits, and like obviously everything that's happening with the counterfeit market too.
Yeah.
Like people don't care as much anymore if it's real or fake, which is crazy. But
I remember going to the flea market and getting J's, getting Jordans,
Nice.
And they had every color, everything.
Like, why are these $49?
Cheaper,
Really?
probably. Yeah, maybe $39.
Oh my
I think they're like
gosh.
$40 a pop, but they did not feel real. They were so uncomfortable and so thin, and like the colors would just wear on them. So, hey, but if it's a good knockoff, I'm in.
I'm hooked on these social media videos. Have you seen like the shoe guys at these like boutique shoe stores, and you'll have people coming in, they're like, I'm trying to sell these, and like, cash or credit, and they're like, I don't know, just give me a number, and they pull the shoe out, and they're like hitting the bottom, and they're smelling it.
I've seen
they
those.
Got the laser in there, and they're like,
He's like, how much you pay for
he's
these?
like, where'd you get these,
Yeah.
man? And he's like, oh, a friend got them for me.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't trust that guy.
Yeah.
He's like going off a sound. He's like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you know what the bottom of the sound?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Another side note. So guilty pleasure show for me. I don't have a lot, but this Love is Blind. It's a reality TV show, and
I've seen it before.
Yeah, I can't believe I said that on air.
I watched the last 3 episodes of The Bachelor or Bachelorette, whatever one's out there, with my wife.
Right.
And it's a lot.
It is a lot. But they set them up on like these little dates, and one of the dates was they go into like this trailer, and they get to take a white Air Force One.
Okay.
And they like instruct them how to like paint it to like make it their own. It was kind of cool, and they like tape off the Nike swoosh and this part, and they could like paint it, and they turned out pretty like unique and
That's
cool.
awesome.
I don't know if I'd wear them, but like just like to have them somewhere, that'd be a fun little date.
That'd be a cool project.
Yeah.
It's better than
Maybe
painting like pottery.
Maybe way better. Get to paint some
All right,
Air
date
Force
night?
Ones. Yeah, mandate.
Perfect.
Mandate.
I'm in.
You still got to bring that bear
I
from
will.
losing
I
your
will.
fantasy football league. All right, so those are our recent headlines. March 20th. Is it really March 20th?
It is.
So
moving.
Tomorrow is spring?
I
Tomorrow's
guess.
first day of spring?
Easter's like next weekend.
I know Easter's in March this year, which is a little unique, right?
It is. I think
Yeah,
that's
March
the earliest.
31st. Shout out to Easter. And Jesus, love that shit. All right. Okay. Let's get into Riddle Me This.
All right.
Oh, gosh.
Are you ready?
I'm not. I'm so bad at these.
See,
but
I'm happy because I had to sit in your shoes and answer the question. So now I'm asking.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully our listeners can provide us with some commentary. If you know it,
Yeah.
throw it in there.
That's
I'm
fair.
gonna be looking at the screen.
We'll give you an Ask the Audience. How about that?
Or just give me any sort of hints you can.
All right. I am something people celebrate or resist. I change people's thoughts and lives. I am obvious to some people, but to others, I am a mystery.
I have no
What am I?
idea.
You want me to read it one more time?
Why don't you read it one more time,
All right.
Matthew?
I am something people celebrate or resist. I change people's thoughts and lives. I am obvious to some people, but to others, I am a mystery.
Gosh, I have no clue. No clue.
So easy to read the answer and be
Yeah.
like, how can you not get this?
yeah. So,
Yeah.
do you have any hints for me?
One of the events happens one time a year.
I was gonna say birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it a birthday?
The answer is age.
Age. Okay. I was gonna say birthday. That was the
Okay.
only thing I had in my head.
Okay.
Okay. Age. It's a mystery, huh?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
All right. Second riddle.
Half. Give me half.
I'll give
me
you
half for
point.
birthday.
I'll give you a half point. Two men are in a desert.
Oh boy.
They both have backpacks on. One of the guys is dead. The guy who is alive has his backpack open, and the guy who is dead has his backpack closed. What is in the dead man's backpack?
Are you kidding me right now?
No,
All right.
I didn't write them.
So when you say one of the guys is dead, is that the guy's backpack is dead, or one of the actual men is dead? Does that
the
help?
riddle is the riddle.
It's-
Here's the riddle on the board. If you there, I can't tell you.
Yeah. All right. Read it again.
Yep. Two men are in a desert. They both have backpacks on. One of the guys is dead. The guy who is alive has his backpack open, and the guy who is dead has his backpack closed. What is in the dead man's backpack? So, guy alive, backpack open. Guy that's dead, backpack closed. Those are the key points for you.
If he's dead, does it have anything to do with like drinking water? So like an empty water bottle? Is it close?
No.
No. All right.
So desert. So think stranded. They're not supposed to be in the desert.
They're not supposed to be in the
Yeah,
desert.
so-
These guys are stranded.
Yep. So alive, backpack open, dead, backpack closed.
Probably something to save his life.
Yeah, exactly. You're on the right path.
Food,
Okay.
compass.
You ready?
Yeah.
Parachute.
Oh, that is good.
That is.
How
good.
did they get to the desert?
That is
I should have
true.
thought before.
Yeah. You were thinking on the ground.
I was like, they're already there. They got dropped in the desert.
Yeah.
And then
Out of an airplane.
Yeah, like out of several thousand feet in the air. Oh, that's a good one. I like that one.
All right, so we'll give you the half point for the first. You get no
on the
points on
second.
that one.
I agree.
All right,
last one.
Last but not least, it's shorter than the rest, but when you're satisfied, you bring it up. Sounds like a bad Sam Prim joke.
Yeah, it does. Go
Well-
deeper. Shorter than the rest, but when you're satisfied, you bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
You like that?
I
Does that
do.
help pointing to the...
Kind of.
Is it physically up, or is it like...
It's physically up.
Okay. Shorter than the rest, but when you're satisfied, you bring it up. You bring it, or do you bring it up in conversation?
It's a physical. It's no words. It's a physical movement.
Physical upward movement.
Yes.
Shorter than the rest, but when you're satisfied, you bring it up. Gosh. I don't know.
A thumb.
Would not have got that. Shorter
You
than
gotta
the...
work on these. You
shorter
gotta
than the
get like
rest.
hints involved, like approved riddle hints.
It is shorter than the rest. I don't know. It's pretty long, depending on where you go.
Let's measure.
Yeah, those bones are deep. Hell, there it is.
Let's go. All right.
All right, man. Let me try to get your butt now, okay?
I'm ready.
True or false? More than 8% of the population is left-handed.
more than 8% of the population is left-handed. So here's how I'm going to base this one off. If I play in a golf group
Yeah.
with like 8 guys.
Okay, not the biggest sample size.
Okay, yeah, but we're going to go small and see if it extrapolates.
So you would need 2 people
yeah,
to be left-handed.
I got 3 people.
Oh,
I got 3.
so that's way more.
So I'm gonna go with just, if we take that worldwide, I'm gonna go
Take
with
that 8% and extrapolate.
Yep, I'm gonna go with true.
All right, you are true. It's not 3 out of 8%, but it is 10%.
That's
of the
pretty good.
population.
Yeah, we got some fall off there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's okay.
and left-handed is a weird one because, like our boy Phil, Wright's right-handed.
I'm
Hit-
ambidextrous too. So
Yeah,
you
hits a hockey puck, right-handed. Swings a golf club, left-handed.
Yep.
Putts, right-handed. Shoots basketball, left-handed.
yeah.
What the heck?
If you gave me a baseball, I would throw it left-handed. If
Would
you
you
gave me if
really?
you gave me a football, I would throw it right-handed. I can't throw a football. I can't throw a football very well to
That
begin
is
with, but
crazy.
just like natural tendency is to like throw it with my right hand.
Yeah. Have you
So-
ever tried golfing left-handed?
I have not.
Maybe
I
you
played
should.
hockey left-handed. Maybe that was
Do
me.
you really?
Yeah.
Gosh, so Phil's just opposite.
There's a
hockey
lot of-
right-handed, golf left-handed.
Yeah, there's a lot of hockey players that are like the opposite,
That's
which is
so
crazy.
crazy to me. That's mind-blowing.
But it's crazy too, because like 30 years ago, or like I don't know, probably more than that, but our parents' like generation growing
Yeah.
up, like I think my dad tried to do a ton of stuff left-handed, and they're like forced him to do it right-handed because I don't know, it was just like an easier way to tee.
Weirdo.
Yeah, it was like it's like hard to find stuff that's left-handed.
Yeah.
You're smearing the whatever lead on your pencil.
Yeah,
I don't know
bumping
how
into
they
people
write.
eating
Oh yeah.
next to a right-hander.
Yeah, Phil's like, I gotta sit on this side of the
Yeah.
table. I'm like, all right,
All right, good work there. That is correct. Check mark. Gold star for you.
let's go.
All right, next one. 2 out of 3 here. It takes about 36 bees to make a tablespoon of honey.
Okay. I got a friend, colleague, coworker, Shane. His parents have a bee conglomerate.
Yeah.
I've heard about these bees, and there's a
Oh.
lot of
What-
bees.
What'd you hear about them?
There's a lot of bees in the hive. So
Yeah.
I think it's far more. Not even just more, but like 10x. I think 36 bees. I don't know if they're getting the job done. I'm going false.
Okay, that is incorrect. It's
Ooh,
true.
really?
But small caveat here.
Okay.
It's the lifetime of the bee, not just like
Ah.
one. What's it called? One
Yeah.
batch.
Okay. Bees only live for like 30 days unless you're that queen bee
Oh,
and you got
okay.
that good.
Bees only live for 30 days.
Yeah.
Is that right, Shane? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
lifetime is very long.
I don't
so
know what it's called,
Maybe
but
not
there's
much of a
this-
caveat.
There's a special bee jelly that the queen gets.
bee jelly.
Yeah.
Tell us about this bee jelly, Sieb.
Shane. Royal jelly.
And
It's
it's
real.
so it's like, then they produce it. It's like honey, but it's a jelly. Is that what you guys are saying?
Yeah, it's something that the queen bee consumes, and it like prolongs her life for like 3
Oh.
years or something crazy.
And no one
like
else
that.
can have it.
Yeah.
'Cause is that what makes her the queen? Like if she wasn't the queen, like could you give that to any of the worker bees, and then that would happen to them too, to a degree?
Yeah.
Man, that's wild. Royal jelly.
Seems a little selfish to me.
I'd take some of that royal. I'd try the royal. Hey, forget ketamine.
Yeah. I'm on that royal
I'm
jelly
on that
diet.
royal jelly. Spread that right on a sandwich.
Yeah. I'm gonna request a half point there because the lifetime
No.
would be that's okay.
If it was like years that these bees lived,
Okay.
but 30 days, no. You're
Okay.
probably
I
only
did
getting a
know
batch
that.
or two out
I
of
did know that
I don't
fact
know if batch
too.
is even right.
Man, what a sad life.
I know, just pumping out honey and I'm
Stinging
gone.
people.
I like bees too. Bees are cool.
Bees are awesome. They're
Wasp,
great.
I hate wasps.
Yeah.
Bees cool, wasp bad.
Agree.
Yeah.
True.
All right, there's your half point. All right, last one, true or false. A koala only sleeps for 2 hours a day.
Those dudes are lazy, man. There's no way that's true. I'm gonna say false.
I love where your head's at, and you are correct.
Okay.
That is false, and they are lazy because they sleep for 22 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one because it wasn't like super close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, hey,
I've seen a lot of pictures of those guys that they just chillax.
you've seen a lot of koala pictures.
Yeah. My
How
sister went to Sydney, Australia one time for like a schooling thing, and
took a lot of koala pics.
koala
Just sitting on
koalas
the
in
back home.
abundance.
Yeah, check this koala out.
By the way,
What about
don't
this
ever
one?
go to Australia.
This one's sleeping
like,
too.
the most dangerous animal place in the world.
Yeah, dude. Have you seen some of those? They have these rivers that are black.
Yeah.
And there's crocodiles in these rivers, and people just disappear. If we could get a black river up on the screen of one of these Australian black rivers, they're the creepiest things I've ever seen.
No, thank you.
And obviously Nemo,
They got the
scary.
How did he make it out of there?
He lucky.
Yeah.
Marlin.
Yeah, that's true.
Marlin's sitting.
That's true.
Fatherly love.
Yeah.
But anyway, black rivers, Australia, watch out.
Okay.
Koalas, probably not as
Seem
dangerous.
nice. Kangaroos can beat you up.
Yeah.
Guess.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, koalas, they're high in the trees, right?
I think so.
If you're just sleeping all day, you think that'd be prime prey. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen those snakes down there too are crazy. But
Yeah.
they got sharks and snakes and alligators and
Dude, everything with
kangaroos
teeth.
that can just
dingoes.
two-punch you.
Dingoes
Yeah.
aren't around anymore. Heard they're making a comeback, though. That's a joke for Sam. All right. True or false is done. You did a great job.
Thank you.
2 or 3, maybe a half point in there.
Okay.
Much better than me. I was 0.5 out of 3, so you definitely win that
All right,
round.
we'll take it.
All right, guys, let's get into the deal of the week here, okay? All right, so deal of the week. So this house is on a street called Countryside in our local market. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath, got a little carport there. If you're watching on video, this is one of the houses that we bought at our local real estate meetup group. Someone came to the front and was like, "Hey, we got this house for sale. Doesn't need much work, and I want this amount." And then we went and bought it for, I think, $5K less than they wanted. So beautiful deal. Just the power of networking, the power of us. We went out the next morning. This event's 8 o'clock at night. We went out the next morning and then got it under contract by 10 a.m. the next day. So just action, man.
Moving.
Yeah, action. So we'll get into some pictures of this one. We bought it for about $100,000. It had a rental in it a tenant in it for about 5 years, give or take. So it was rehabbed about 5 years ago. So the kitchen is good. If you want to flip to the kitchen here real quick, T. York. So 5-year-old kitchen, decent cabinets. I think that's granite. I think that looks like granite too. Decent appliances. The majority of our cost on this was going to be the roof and then flooring and paint. So we had about a $17,000 a rental budget. We spent that.
Rehab.
I'm sorry.
That's
Rehab
okay.
budget. Thank you.
Yeah.
Rehab budget. And we spent that. So we were looking for about $165,000 ARV to be able to execute the burst strategy, get a 75% loan, pay our purchase, and rehab costs plus some private lender money interest.
Mhm.
We funded this with a private lender, and then kind of roll that into a long-term note and start cash flowing. The rent amount on this is about $15.95 a month in this area. So with interest rates where they are today, this type of house for us 3 to 10 years ago would have cash flowed $280 a month.
Yeah.
Net. And this particular one is about 85 to 95. So for you to buy long-term rentals, that's kind of where the numbers are right now. That the 200 to 300 in our market at least is just kind of gone. So about $1,000 a year this thing cash flows.
Yeah.
But with all the other benefits that real estate provides, adding equity to the balance sheet, tax benefits, debt pay down, appreciation, all this stuff, we'll do this deal all day long right now because we're at 8.5% interest. We can get it done, and then hopefully in 5 years or so we can execute some sort of refinance and get this at a much better, more
Right.
appetizing
Rent increases, whatever that looks like. There's
Exactly.
opportunities to increase that.
For sure.
Cash flow number 2.
For sure, yeah. We always say day one cash flow is usually the least cash flow you'll get if you keep up the property the way it's supposed to be kept up. So
Morgan says cash flow is cash flow.
cash flow is cash
That's
flow. We're positive.
facts.
And most rentals 2, 3, 4 years ago, you didn't even have to look at the rental number. If it was in a certain area and you bought it at the discount you needed to, and you could execute the burrs from a loan to value standpoint, you knew it would cash flow.
Yeah.
This time you could still do that, but you got to really plug in the formula because most of the times they're not cash flow positive these days.
Yeah.
Usually they're $100 a month loss.
Yeah.
So,
and again, it's what's your motivation, right? Like, obviously, the future growth and wealth of real estate appreciating, or that cash flow number, which, again, like, you need a lot of those cash flow numbers to really make an impact, or, replace income, or whatever that looks like in the short term. So, if it makes sense for you to take on that, it's not even a risk, because like, you are cash flowing still, but it's not your $200 to $300
for sure. But it was a quick turn. We bought it from a local tired landlord. He has a portfolio of, I don't know, 30 rentals or so, and was like, just wanted to sell. We do it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, the rental turn is too much that we want to spend. We don't want to outlay. He would have had to outlay about $17,000, just like we did, to get this back up to snuff. Instead of doing that, he bought it, 5 years ago. He probably has a loan balance of 60 or 70. He can go make 30 or 40 grand, and instead of spending $17,000.
Right.
So it's a net difference of $60,000 in this dude's pocket by selling this one rental. And
at his stage in life too, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, there's different strategies, and like, people either consolidate, upgrade asset classes, whatever they're looking to do. So the fact that this gentleman wanted to sell this is not like a red flag in any way, right?
No, it happens all the time. We do it pretty often. Every turn we evaluate, hey, is this something we want to keep forever? And then, if we want to keep it forever, then we're a little more flexible on the turn budget. But if it's not something we want to keep forever and it's over $10,000 turn, we look at selling it.
Yeah.
And we sell them as is usually and make, I don't know, it's usually not 30 or 40. It's usually more like 15 or 20.
Yeah.
But that's 15 or 20 on top of that what we had to put in. So it's a net 30 to 40 grand in our pocket every single one of these that we do.
Yeah.
And then we can go start fresh and execute another BRRRR from scratch and be into a new cash flowing rental for zero out of pocket.
Fluid, baby.
Yeah, it's fluid. And it just shows the power of having these assets and having the flexibility and control on. You can do a lot of different stuff with them.
Yeah.
So
love it.
I love it. So we got to the point where we finished the rehab, and then we took it to a bank, and he was like, all right, I'll talk to an appraisal. He'll be contacting you, and then we'll set up a time to meet at the property. I was like, perfect. That was like a Friday. Come Monday, we get a call that our property has been vandalized.
Oh.
So people went in there, they ripped cabinets off the walls, they sprayed, they had like a paint bucket, our spare paint bucket that we keep in the closet. They took off the lid and put it all over the floor, all over the walls. So we pretty much had to we're in the middle of it right now, have to rehab this thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Did you find out who did this?
Yes. So
Is there a story?
There is a story. So they hung out in there for a little bit.
Okay.
Ordered some local pizza, Emos.
All right.
Left their receipt, the pizza box, and their credit card in the house.
Man.
They're
on that ketamine, dog.
No, man, good for them. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, people on ketamine probably think clearer than this. This is a mistake. They were juveniles of some degree. I don't know how young, but probably mommy and daddy's credit card.
Yeah.
But we called local authorities, and there's not much we can do. We figured out what house they live in. It's 6 houses down. Like, man, well, what's going to stop them from doing this again? But luckily, we have some connections with local law enforcement around here. Relationships, and they kind of threw some cuffs on them for a little bit and scared the crap out of them and talked to their parents and stuff. So hopefully they never do it again. And the sad part is flexibility, right? We gotta change course on this. We can't have $17,000 extra into this rental. I mean, we could. It's just not the right business play.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna be into it for instead of 117, we're gonna be into it for 134. We're gonna go list it for 165 after commissions and closing costs and stuff. Maybe net 15 to 20.
Yeah.
And that's a win in lieu of spending that extra, 15 or 20 grand.
I know you're getting on the social media game, which I love to see.
That train,
Follow
baby.
Lucas FasterFreedom, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody, I see the comments of everybody's like, oh, it's so easy for you, Sam. It's so easy. But like, they don't see this stuff.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
This stuff happens to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so love the transparency. Obviously, love that you found an avenue to still win.
Yeah.
And love that you scared those kids. You might have changed those kids' life.
That and ketamine is all they needed.
Yeah. Man, I watch enough crime shows to know that you don't leave the receipts.
Yeah, bro. That's like
incriminating.
rule number one.
Yeah. Clean up the mess.
Yeah. So wasn't the best. This was last week we figured this out, and something else that happened the same day was we have a 9-unit apartment building, like residential upstairs and then commercial downstairs.
Okay.
And the commercial tenants, one of the residential units upstairs, the guy turned on the sink and forgot it was on or fell asleep, overflowed the sink. All the water came crashing down on the commercial tenant below. Man, we had to do restoration, new rehab. Now we got to figure out what to do with this tenant. It's a mess, man. Real estate, there could be some challenges.
You had the wet bandits.
Yeah.
You had the wet bandits upstairs.
I wish we had the sticky bandits.
That's our calling card.
Yeah. But anyway, it's a grind sometimes, man, and just got to persevere. Are we going to give up, though, you think, Sieb? Nah, man. We're going to keep pushing through, man. Cool. All right. Well, that's our deal of the week. Hopefully that was helpful. Those deals are still out there. That was a long-term rental, too. We obviously had the option to do a midterm or short-term if we needed to, but didn't have to on that one. But it would probably still work if we did. All right, man. So motivation. Let's give these guys a little motivation before we get out of here.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to read the quote to you, and you give me your thoughts on how it sits in your belly, your solar plexus.
Ooh,
right there. Just learned that. One of the chakras. I think it's orange. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know anything about the chakras.
Yeah, I don't either. Anyway, all right. Our quote for today. Don't sit down and wait for the opportunities to come. Get up and make them. That was from Madame C.J. Walker, who was the first female self-made millionaire.
Love it.
So it's got to be.
Can tie it back into our conversation earlier.
Yeah, how can we do that?
I mean, you can go get educated. You can do all this stuff on your own, but like nothing happens if you don't take action. So that action can look a variety of different ways. It could be going and buying the house. It could be going and making relationships, networking, building the bonds that are going to help you be successful in real estate. But like, you can't sit there thinking somebody's going to knock on your door, whether you paid for education, got free education, going to do it on your own, whatever that looks like. But if you don't take action, like I can promise you this, nothing will happen.
Yes.
So like nobody's going to show up at your door with a set of keys and say like, hey, congratulations. You want to be a real estate investor. Here's your first property. That'd be cool.
Be a lot more investors out there.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot limited barrier of entry, but luck will happen in this game, but it's not going to happen to the people that aren't taking action. Luck comes from taking action, and those opportunities come, right? So kind of along the same lines, like if an opportunity doesn't knock or whatever, a door doesn't appear, build that mother. You know what I mean? So
every no is a next opportunity, right?
Another quote similar to this, I'm going to butcher the hell out of it. Oh, look at those chakras real quick. Solar plexus. Look at that. The sacral is the orange one. The sacral chakra. So the solar plexus is, I think, about 2 inches above your belly button, and the sacral is 2 inches below, I believe, and that's the orange one. Anyway, I'm learning about chakras. It's kind of interesting.
Have you seen Semi-Pro?
Oh, yeah.
This reminds me of the jejunum.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to hit you in the jejunum. It makes him throw up.
Something else real quick on Semi-Pro is my son's on a basketball team, right? And there's other dads and stuff on the basketball team, and one of the dads to the game wore a Semi-Pro jersey to cheer on his son. It was the coolest freaking
Jackie
thing.
Moon?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, who else?
Coffee Black was pretty cool, too.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Anyway, go out there, make the opportunities for yourself. Kind of like the same thing, like, try not to – you can't, figure out where you fit in like your dream life. You have to create it. Create what that dream life looks for you, and it's same thing with opportunities.
And like with opportunities too, like you take action, like those opportunities aren't guaranteed now. So like action doesn't come with an immediate result or immediate like gratification, but like you're planting seeds, I think, along the way, and like those seeds blossom, and like maybe it comes a year later or a couple months later where you're like, hey, that action from 3 months ago like impacted today's result. So I love that.
All right, man. Well, thank you for all the chats. Morgan, Ginger, we see you guys. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for everybody joining today. We are live every Wednesday and Friday at 1:30 8:30 p.m. Central Time. So love to see you guys back next Friday. You got Matty Dubs and I
back.
ready to rock it out. We got
back.
a really cool guest next Friday too. So
This Friday.
this Friday. So excited to get to know him and hear about his specialty in business acquisitions. So join us next Friday. Appreciate you all. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.
See you there.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. We hope you got some major value from our conversation. If you love what you learn, make sure you like, rate, review the show, and help us spread the word by telling a friend.
If you'd like to learn more about working with me inside one of my programs, we'll have those links in the show notes, along with all our social media handles, so you connect with us there for free. If there's a real estate question you'd like us to answer, feel free to send us a message and we'll cover it in an upcoming show.